and welcome to tonight's Gray Matter live stream. We had a really great show last Saturday with
Mhm.
our friend Grant Abraham, who's running in that big Battle River by-election in Alberta. And I think we're going to have a great show tonight. But tonight, a bit of a change of pace. We've got Mark Nixon on our program, along with our good friend and producer, Michael Klassen. Mark is he's a mortgage expert by day, but he's kind of a social media phenomenon by night. And he's become actually a leading influencer and commentator online, especially on economic issues, but also politics. Hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok, on X, and otherwise. So really great to have you on the program tonight, Mark. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me, guys. I think we're going to have
Yeah.
some pretty good discussions. Usually on my content and show, it's just me talking to the information. To have a panel like this is probably exciting for some of my viewers and probably for yours as well.
Yeah, well, obviously, given almost 200,000 followers on TikTok, you've got a lot of people really interested in what you're saying, Mark. So we're hoping some of those people will maybe follow you over here and we'll get to know them. So maybe there's some cross-pollination here. But that's really the idea, right? Is to have this discourse and have conversations that looks like, unfortunately, we may not be able to have much much longer. So what's going on? Tonight? A bit of a change of pace. Those of you who follow the program, we've been talking a lot about values, and we had a couple of really great pastors on the program. Tonight, I want to dive into what's going on, big picture, politically and economically in the country. And this is really in Mark's wheelhouse. He obviously has a very keen understanding of economics, being in the mortgage business, and also, if you follow him at all, you know that he's one of the keenest observers of what's going on in the country. So we're going to get some great ideas and content here. I want to start here, if I could, Mark. Over the past week to 10 days, we've seen kind of a shocking doubling down on restriction of Canadian liberties and freedoms. And of course, many people were surprised. I wasn't, and you probably weren't either, by what happened to, a MAGA American Christian pastor who decided to have a tour across Canada and just celebrate his religious faith in song. And obviously, he has a very strong following in Canada, but he ran into just incredible resistance, vehement opposition throughout the country. In Montreal, we had a situation where in fact, the police, there was an Antifa person there, showed up and threw a smoke bomb. They weren't going to let him perform, and the police just sort of stood idly by. And this poor guy actually had his tour bus rammed by a crazy person when he was traveling through Manitoba. His experience in Canada was so bad he actually kissed the soil when he landed in back in the U.S. of A. And then today we hear the story about in Nova Scotia, it's now illegal to go hiking or camping out in the woods. That actually Nova Scotia has declared some sort of environmental emergency because of fires, and they're imposing $25,000 fines. So in our country, Mark, it seems that local municipal authorities have decided that they have to issue permits to allow people to exercise their religious freedom and freedom of expression. And Nova Scotia has gone, full totalitarian, almost a step up, or I guess maybe a revisitation of what we experienced during COVID. What do you think is going on in our country right now in terms of our fundamental rights and freedoms?
You have two items, so let's separate them because there's two different viewpoints and items that we could talk about. If we talk about the first one, which is, you know, the singer that was having problems in Canada.
Sean Foyt, I think his name is. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what happened there, and so the thing about the Liberals is they play nasty. They
Uh-huh.
know how to play nasty, and that's why they won the election. Well, luckily they didn't win a majority. It would be a different story. But so how they do it is they base everything on fear. So if you
Mm.
actually watch Mark Carney speak throughout each of his speech, so I don't know if you saw on Canada Day, you would expect that he would be talking a little bit positively But on Canada Day, he used that opportunity to talk about hinge moment, worst crisis since World War II. So everything. If you actually know that, now when you watch Mark Carney, watch for what he says. They're all buzzwords where he does fear, solution, but his solution is so vague. It's very strategic in the words, because on one side you could see it as, wow, this is great. On the other side, you're like, this is very deceitful. And he's doing it. Trudeau did it. It's one of the things that the left love doing is getting fear and then providing these buzzwords where everybody's like, what does that even mean? Oh yeah, I could wrap my head around it, because it could mean something to everybody.
Right.
And so what they did is they created all sorts of fear of Donald Trump. Without Donald Trump, it would be a majority conservative government today. So they used Donald Trump, and I believe, I mean, this is just my opinion, is
that's
that
okay. Express it here.
Yeah,
we respect freedom of expression, Mark.
Okay, good. Yeah, just my opinion is that Justin Trudeau, when he went in November, he knew that his polling numbers were crumbling. Right. So I think he planted the seed at that moment, saying, hey, I'm probably going to step down. We're going to drum up fear against you, and then we're going to install Mark Carney, and he's going to be your guy, and, you know, it's going to be a win for you, right? So they planned it all out. And so why would I say that? It's because we found out later on that Mark Carney, he had a meeting with Donald Trump, and he said that Donald Trump respected our sovereignty. And we found out a month later that, in fact, Donald Trump, on the transcript of the call that we got a month later, he actually said, you should just become the 51st state. So I don't know. So, and then CBC and all the reporters are said, well, just so it's our fault. They blame themselves, saying that we didn't ask the right questions. We failed as reporters. Are you kidding me? So they always try to cover for them if there's a mistake. Yeah. And so hearing this, you kind of start thinking to yourself, wait a second. I mean, and they've known each other for decades. There's a relationship there.
Sure.
And now we find out that, you know, out of the 567 assets that he has displayed, only 3, which is 0.5%, is in Canada. How much faith do you have in a country where you have zero skin in the game? Right. None. And I just read today that
two foreign passports.
Yeah, well, he gave those up. Supposedly, they're gone. He said that. I mean, all for the best that we know, that he doesn't have them. So that's what the latest is on. So what they've done is they created all sorts of fear of Donald Trump, and part of that fear is dividing us, because if we're divided, we're weaker. When we're united, that's when we are the strongest. And once we get divided, then they have to always look for the next thing to divide us further. Right. So unfortunately, the singer was collateral damage. Just like in the US, they have that American Eagle commercial.
Right, yeah.
That's Sweeney. All that's manufactured. Yeah. It's a distraction. It's in order for there to be a bad guy and a good guy, and it divides the people. I mean, who cares? Who cares? You know, it's ridiculous. But you'll see, if you go online, you'll see all sorts of fighting going on about these situations. And so that's what they're expert at, and they're really, really good at it. And it causes exactly what they want, and we fall for it. So that's the first part. The second part, with Nova Scotia banning going into the forest, which is absolutely absurd. The amount of people that are going to have mental health problems because the forest is closed for 2.5 months unless there's rain. So just that, we already know from looking back at the mistakes we made, shutting everything down. I remember they saran wrapped the playgrounds for the children. And they looked, and the children had very low cases of severe illness. It's more the older people. These children are stuck at home, and they're saran wrapping the playgrounds. For how long? Almost a year they were closed down. that it caused permanent damage for the children, because that's the time where they're outside playing with others and exploring, and I still see it in the children that are in my life, that really, they're starting to slowly come around. But imagine the people of Nova Scotia, they're going backwards, back to that stay home moment. And the thing is that, yes, there's a major problem if the forest is drying out. And yes, it is a concern. The other side is, why would they be shutting these forests down? Is it because we have failed as a country to protect our forests? Forest management, big problem. They think just leave all the dead wood on the ground and not clean it up is forest management. No, all of that dead wood needs to be gathered and cleaned. And back, before we came to Canada, the Native Americans, they used to burn the forest and do that was normal, because forests, they're supposed to burn because there's disease in the forest. Right. So you do controlled burns, but we've gotten so good at suppressing the forest fires and then letting all the brush build up. Of course they're going to explode.
Yeah. Same thing happened in Jasper last year, right, Mark? Exact same diagnosis.
Well, they were warned. They were warned since 2012 that the entire thing was ready to blow up because the pine beetle came and devastated the forest. It dried it out. It didn't take anything. It just needed to be lit. It doesn't matter if it was a piece of glass or whatever. It was ready to go. And what did they do? They could have cut all that dead wood and gathered it and probably made furniture with it. But instead, they just let it blow up. And then what do they do right after it blows up? We need to do something about the climate. And that just makes me so angry when I hear that kind of stuff.
That's what Trudeau said in Parliament, right? He said he blamed it all on climate change, not forest
management. Pine cone to pine cone. Remember that? From pine cone to pine cone, flying pine cones. I'm like, geez, at least there's a funny story, because it's not so funny to us Canadians that are watching this nonsense. Yeah. And so what's happening is I posted on my Twitter account. I mean, I use Ukraine, but it could be used for anything. But, think about the 20 billion we sent. So one brand new water bomber. I mean, it doesn't have to be Ukraine. We waste a ton of money sending it out, doing all sorts of stuff. The amount of waste that we're doing. For example, the consultants, we're going to do $27 billion worth of consultants. Yeah. You guys are the experts. That's why you were elected.
But we need to focus on promotion of gender and Marxist feminist issues in Vietnam, Mark. That's really important.
Oh, I know.
Because, Vietnam, they don't know anything about communism, right?
No, it's ridiculous. And then, no pooping signs in Ghana. I mean, all the stuff that we're wasting money on. The thing is let's just say the $20 billion. It's $37 million for a brand new water bomber. The best, the state of the art, and they're very efficient, where they could drop every 3 minutes just catastrophic amount of water on an area and suppress these fires. We currently have 106 water bombers across the country. 20 billion divided by 37 million is 540 water bombers. Wow. It's so many.
And we could probably make them right here in Canada. Right?
Yes, we could use our steel and we use our products. It's just unreal. And the thing is if we had that many water bombers, we would be able to flood our country with water wherever we want. Let's say it's every 15 minutes and you have 100 of them hitting this, it's out. I mean, there's no.
But where are they going to find water in Nova Scotia, Mark? I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, Michael, listen. I want to bring you into this, Michael, and maybe get Mark's thoughts on this.
Yes.
I was involved, people know, in some high-profile COVID cases. We fought the big case fighting lockdowns in Alberta. And back then, it was starting to become clear that governments around the world had gotten the idea that this declaration of emergency was like a golden ticket. It granted immense power. And we still have emergency legislation in every province. Nova Scotia is exercising it. When it's used responsibly, the way Danielle Smith did during the Jasper fire incident, it's very effective. But if it's used irresponsibly, like it is in Nova Scotia, basically, declaring an emergency because of an environmental catastrophe is basically declaring a perpetual state of emergency, because until the sun goes out, you know, we're gonna have fires. Do you see, Michael, this as sort of the next stage of tyranny that grew out of COVID now, where governments like Nova Scotia, where Nova Scotia, for example, might be a test case for the rest of the country to see if they can get away with it? Because, you know, if they start locking people out of the forest, well, then, you know, they can start locking them in their homes again, for example, right? What do you think?
Well, it sure seems like that. Not everybody wants to acknowledge the slippery slope, or they'll say, "Oh, you know, it's just for 8 weeks. You know, 2 minutes is 120 seconds."
What was it, 15 days to flatten the
Yes.
curve?
That's right. So they
Yeah.
give us these marketing terms, and I love that Mark brought up Sweeney and her
Yeah.
ad campaign. And Marshall McLuhan is someone, Leighton, that you and I have talked about.
Oh,
in
yes.
the
The
past.
medium is the message.
There
right.
you go. Anyone who tries to make a distinction between education and entertainment doesn't know the first thing about either. The reason that I wanted to bring that up is with what Mark was saying and the optics that are around everything.
Mhm.
The you know, the test case of cigarettes, like you and I talked about earlier, and then we hear these terms, and sometimes I might feel like Don Quixote or something. There's always a windmill to attack, or there's a monster just lurking around every corner. But when we think in terms of the marketing is the message, and there's a quote that says, "Don't fear the pain, fear the message that caused the pain." And there's, with the sun being like the source of life
Right.
in our world.
The sun monster.
If you think of, what do we hear about Donald Trump? Orange man bad.
Right.
Well, what else is orange? The sun. And
Right.
I might, some people might think you're taking this a little too far, but you got to, we're trained to think in terms of minutes and seconds and days and 4-year election cycles. But other people, who maybe Marshall McLuhan might warn us about, or people like the Frankfurt School or Aldous Huxley, other people like them,
Right.
Sigmund Freud, they think in decades upon decades.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I think it feels to me like we're just at another gradual along the way.
The other thing that's a great point. The other thing that's concerning is the sort of rules for thee but not for me. For example, we were talking about this American pastor who was touring Canada and having tour dates canceled. By the way, he's planning to come back to go to Winnipeg. Danielle Smith invited him to come and perform on the steps of the legislature in Edmonton. So that's good news. I hope he does come back. But at the same time, the you know, the leftist media that Mark talked about completely ignored the fact that a radical Islam imam started a tour on July 31st, going across the country,
Sure did.
talking about, you know, imposition of Sharia law. We've got to get rid of Western culture, and this went off stone silent. You know, so it seems as though he has the perfect right to express his beliefs, even though some of them, frankly, sound you know, seditionist or treasonous to Canada. And then of course everybody saw this picture. You know, recently we had the, you know, gay pride parade over last
yes.
weekend, and here's Mark Carney. You know, as if we didn't see this enough with Justin Trudeau. Here's Mark Carney, you know, hugging a guy with nothing but a G-string on in the streets. So these men can walk around with almost nothing on in the streets, and that so they can express themselves. But people who hold certain religious beliefs, who would find that, you know, that offensive, you know, their rights are being restrictive. What do you think about this, Mark? Is there a way to turn this around? And more importantly, do you see a time coming when Canadians are going to say, that's enough? I'm tired of watching our prime minister hug, you know, naked men in the streets. I'm tired of the suppression of Christianity and you know, what we used to call common decency. Do you think that we're reaching a breaking point, or do you think that people like Pierre Poilievre are right, that, you know, basically the country's broken? What do you think?
Well, I just want to say and go back to and we'll go to your question about this shutting down the fire. You know, for people going into the forest. There's the problem we have in Canada is we're allowing our politicians to bring the standard lower and lower. Like our standards are becoming so low. At what point do we just say we want, for example, our new Canadian dream and they keep selling us the worst of the worst. So our standard, when I was growing up, my standard was I'm going to get a nice white picket fence. I'm going to be able to afford to go on vacation. I could have, as many kids as I want. And I'm going to be able to eat steak if I want to. Now, go to the store and go buy yourself a piece of steak. It's going to set, and for the whole family, it's going to set you back. 4 pieces of steak at Costco is $100. Wow. The dream is gone. It's so gone. And not only that is we're seeing problems everywhere. And why are there problems? Why are people, I always go, I'm like, why are the people doing, putting things that are going to hurt themselves in their bodies? Why are they doing that? It's because they've lost hope. There's no more hope in this country. They wouldn't be doing that kind of stuff if there was actually something that was exciting. There's nothing exciting. What, you're going to go to work and then just have enough to crack an egg for your whole family and cut it in 10? It's so bad. So the other thing is, for example, instead of saying, okay, we're gonna open up these 3 trails. We're going to have personnel on the trail to educate the people that are going in. You can't have anything metal or glass, and everything's rubber, right? And you're just hiking. The risk of a fire from hikers that are prudent and careful. And if you cause a fire, it's going to be a year in jail and 100,000. Make it severe. So if there's reckless people, punish them and have this phone line. So they created a phone line to report people. Perfect. Do that, but keep it open. Report the people that are doing crimes and put them in jail forever. Lock them up. Make the penalty so severe. The thing, instead of doing the hard work and keeping our standards at a certain level, they just resort to the lowest standard and just shut it down. Right. That's the problem. So I'm talking about, this is not just in Nova Scotia. This is all of Canada.
Yeah.
Our
it's
standards
lazy. It's lazy, isn't it?
It's lazy.
Yeah.
They're not, there's like, it's so easy to shut it down, but it actually takes work to come up with unique solutions to maintain mental health and make sure that everybody, hey, let's all work together. Is that working together? They're talking about we're the most united country on planet Earth. Is it uniting not to come up with solutions where we could all participate in it? Just shutting us down, that's not participation at all.
Well, you thought a great one.
Go to your room and don't come out.
That water bomber thing, that's a great idea. And it's something we could do. If we made the right decisions, we actually have the resources, we could do that. We actually could do that.
Exactly.
And what could we do to stop forest fires in this country if we had, how many water bombers was it?
106.
Yeah. I mean, that could really do a lot all across the country. I mean, if we built all those ones that you talked about, how much was it? 567 you said? Yeah.
540. For the 20 billion we sent overseas.
Yeah.
For Ukraine. I mean, that's there's one side that says, we need to fight for democracy. It's a big deal, but they've drummed up that, right? Think about this. Donald Trump wants to end the war. And why don't we work with our number one customer and our best friend and say, what would you like to do? Let's work with them. Why are we working with Europe? What is Europe doing for us? They're not doing anything for us. Yeah. They buy like 5% of our products. I don't know why we're strengthening ties with them. We're going to talk about Europe hopefully in a bit because I got quite a bit going on there. Yeah. But let's talk about the Pride Parade. Okay. So I don't have a problem with the Pride Parade. And that's the thing, as I'm more of a common sense type of person. I want people to be able to do whatever they want to do. No restrictions. You want to go to the Pride Parade? Go to the Pride Parade. I'm not going to go. I don't like the Pride Parade. Don't force me to go either because I get to choose what I want to do. The thing is For example, I was very disappointed to see Mark Carney at the Pride Parade. Very. And the reason is first, he's talking to us about climate change, and he flies from Ottawa to Vancouver in a massive jetliner for 5 minutes of photos.
Yeah. Rules
How
for
is
thee,
that
but not for
leadership?
me. Yeah.
It's so wrong. And then after that, after his photos, the thing is Donald Trump is on a different mission than he was the first term. This term, he is going on war on woke. Like woke is done in the US. It's a big thing for him. He wants to bring back common sense where we don't care about ethnicity or gender. We care about competency.
Right.
And like that's common sense. Like we want, are you going to get your heart surgeon to be, hey, I need you a different gender, or you need to believe in rainbows? No, we need somebody that knows what they're doing. They could on the back end believe in that stuff, but we need the best of the best doing the best jobs.
Right.
And so that's what he's doing. And so if you're in a negotiation with someone that has showed what their values are, and Mark Carney always talks about values and how important
wrote a book
values
about
are.
values. Yeah, wrote a book about it.
He's all about values. So when somebody shows you your values and they're your number one trading partner and best friend, how dare you go and go against what they said they wanted, especially since their economy is 10 times the size of ours. We can't win a trade war. Just all you have to do to actually get what the best deal for Canada, because that's what he told us he was going to do, is don't go to Pride Parade, because Donald Trump doesn't see that as a strength or that's against his values. Actually be nice to him and talk to him, go play golf with him, be a friend of his, and give concessions. What do you want, Donald Trump? Actually be a friend.
Right.
Are we being friends? We are not being friends. He's not even picking up a phone call to talk to our prime minister. It is so pathetic. And it all stems down. And you heard Doug Ford today. He came out and said, the number one thing about business is a relationship. Without a relationship, there's no business. And when he said that, but he also said, let's raise dollar for dollar. So I'm like, dude, listen to your own advice, man. But the thing is it is all about a relationship. Why would I want to do business with somebody that I don't like? I won't. I'm going to go to another customer that I do like. And even Mark Carney knows this, because he said, we're going to do business with like-minded people that share our values. Who else on the planet do we share the most values with?
The Americans.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
They're going to convince us it's Europe. We don't share the same air and water. Well, air, but water. Like, they're on a different continent. We are not European. We are North American. We are closer to Mexico than Europe.
Right.
We are North American. Okay? So they could try to convince us all we want. And they're doing as much as they can to convince us all, like on a daily basis. Should we join economic ties with China? Should we join the EU? It's like for the last 2 weeks, every day, mainstream media has pumping out, should we join China or the EU? It's pure propaganda on a daily basis.
Well, let's
nonsense.
dive into this, Mark, because you raise a really important point. And I pulled a quotation from former American President John Adams, who said famously, there are two ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword, the other is by debt. It's pretty obvious the plan the Liberals have, and it seems as though the way they're doing it is they're going to ignore the tremendous opportunities to build trading relationships with the United States, and they're going to allow Canada to suffer heavy tariffs. They're going to allow our GDP to continue to sink. It's already the lowest, I believe, in the G20, and they're going to essentially force feed us trading relationships, deeper trading relationships with China, who's a terrible trading partner actually, and with Europe. Why are they doing this, Mark? What's your take on this? Why does Mark Carney refuse to do what you say is in Canada's best interest, and that is to build a proper trading relationship with the largest economy in the world, which, as you quite rightly point out, we have the most in common with. Why is he doing this?
Well, it's all about power and money. That's why they are profiting from us being weak. You know, I just saw the S&P 500. They just showed that they had the highest revenue in 4 years on 82% of the stocks on the S&P 500. Guess what? Mark Carney owns Apple. He owns all these stocks in the S&P 500. So when he sees us go down, 90+% of his portfolio is in the U.S. stock market. It's unbelievable. But there's another thing with, think about this. It's all about their virtue, their values, their identity. That's all that matters to them. They don't care about anything else. So for example, in the last 10 years, so they're talking about diversifying our trade with Europe and with China and the rest of the world. Where were they 10 years ago? For the last 10 years, you had 10 years to diversify, right? I'm not saying the conservatives would have done better. I'm just saying any government would know you got to diversify. Okay. So that means what could we have done differently? First of all, Japan came to Canada for our LNG, and so did Europe.
Right, so did
when
Germany.
the war, right when Russia started invading Ukraine, that was a golden opportunity for Canada. What did Justin Trudeau do? He said there's no business case.
Yeah. Wow.
So the U.S. have 7 liquefied natural gas ports built between that time period, and they signed $1 trillion deal with Japan for natural gas and investments.
It hurts, doesn't it? Wow.
It's so bad. So we could have, think about this, and I've done a lot of math. Like I study all day. I love it.
Well, you're a math guy, right? This is what you do.
Well, the thing is, it's like, the thing is I was never going to go into social media or do any of this stuff. But when I looked online, I say, hey, there's no one like me.
Yeah.
Like I looked, I said, there's no one that is like me, where I'm obsessed with data. I love data. I love understanding complex calculations. I like looking at different charts and maps, and I like making sense of it. I also like to know what our politicians are doing, because it will change my map.
Yes.
Right? I want to see what they're doing, because it's going to change what it looks like. And then I figured, hey, why don't I share this with the world, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty valuable information. And there's a lot of people that think like me. Like, we want to know.
Hundreds of thousands are following you, so you're hooked on
they
something.
Want to. Well, no, it's because I'm data driven. Like how?
Right.
So people will try to, go in the comments and write something. They can't dispute the data, right?
Yeah.
So they'll go after me personally, which they don't even know who I am, right? So that you're doing something right when someone personally goes after you. It's like, man, you can't argue with the facts, right?
Speaking of data, Mark, I want to ask you about something else, another finance area. I hope you don't feel like we're picking your brain here, but we've got you here, and you're the numbers guy. People don't understand what's going on with trade. You've helped us understand that better. The other thing people don't understand is banking. I've got this quotation from Thomas Jefferson I think is really poignant. He says, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. It seems to me that is a perfect description of what's going on in Canada. So explain to us the role of the banks, especially the central bank, the Bank of Canada, is playing in this, especially since their former head, Mark Carney, is now our Prime Minister.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the Bank of Canada, they made crucial mistakes. They're supposed to be independent, and obviously we learned during the pandemic they were not independent. They acted as Justin Trudeau's printing press, doubled our deficit in 100+ years in such a short amount of time. They told us to borrow more because interest rate would stay low for a long time. Then the interest rates rose in the fastest pace in history. And it's caused a lot of damage. And the reason is so usually what happens, and this is information a lot of people don't know, but there's debt cycles, and they're actually 40-year debt cycles.
Really?
So the last debt cycle was 1940 to 1980.
Okay.
And then 1980 to 2020. So we finished our 40 years right at 2020. Think about it. The peak interest rates at 22% in Canada were like early 1980s.
Right.
Since then, the rates have gone all the way to zero.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the new 40-year debt cycle.
Wow.
So people are thinking, hey, when are we going back to zero again, Mark? I said, we're not. But it doesn't go straight up. It goes up, recession, down.
Right.
And then, but it won't be down to zero again. I could be wrong. I mean, but I look at data, right? Based on the data, we're not going back to zero ever, like for the next 80 years. I won't be alive when we go to zero again. But so what's going to happen is going to go. So we already went up to 5. We're down to 2.75. We can't do anything because our government's planning on stimulating 100 billion this year. I saw 147 billion next year. This is not included in our 5% commitment to NATO. There's no way we could do that. No way. And we could maybe have done it if we sold our natural resources to the world.
Yeah.
But we don't. We created a debt bubble. Instead of creating the things that debt buys, we created debt. Well, that's not going to work out good for the population. That's not going to work out good. And people go, well, homes always go up and now home prices are going down. The thing is, if inflation continues to go up, eventually, your home, even if it doesn't go down, it's like your money's worthless. So
yeah, that's like Germany right in the 1920s. Yeah.
So we
know where that led.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, what's terrifying for me is that the net zero plan that this government has had for the last decade, and they're still going down the road, it's going to lead us to financial ruins. It's already in Europe. We've seen Germany is 2-year recession because they made reckless. And guess what? They removed the carbon taxes on the industries.
Yeah.
And Mark Carney's like, oh, we're going to continue. And we're going to continue with the EV mandates. After the auto industry has come out, provinces, everybody's come out and said, hey, the EV thing, it's not going to work this for your time schedule. Start changing it because we can't do it. And they're still, no, we're going to continue to do it. Our electricity grid can't even handle that many new cars that are EV. It's not even real. Yeah. And let's continue. But the thing is the best way, if they actually want to transition, and that's arguable. We're not going to get into that argument.
Right. Yeah.
But if they, that's not what the whole point here is. The whole point is, if we did want to do that, we're not going to that point. You need the money first.
Right.
Because it's a risk doing that. Yeah. Right? There's a risk. So you need the money first, then you could do that.
Yeah.
You can't print the money and take a risk while the rest of the world is not participating. That's the biggest thing too. So you want us to take on a risk of going towards this with no proof. The rest of the world says no. Europe tried it. They're going into collapse. And you're going to continue to go down this road with debt, not with the money that we already have. That is terrifying. Yes. And you can't argue with that statement. It's for real. There's no argument. It's not. This is concrete here. You can't.
The other issue we have going on, Mark, and I want to get you comments because this is right in your business. Is this? You talked about the debt bubble. There's a mortgage bubble coming too, because you talked about the low rates, and these mortgages are coming up for renewal, and there are many people who are going to be literally put out of their homes because they can't afford to renew their mortgages at the higher rates. That's another thing that's coming down the pipe, isn't it?
Yeah, so you have to remember, not everybody has a mortgage. So let's not put the panic on people. There
Okay.
are going to be a group of people that are screwed. There's also a group of people that don't have a mortgage. For example, in the in Vancouver, 50% of homeowners have zero mortgage. So there's not going to be panic in Vancouver where people are thinking it's going to be a fire sale. No, nobody has mortgages.
Right.
I see them. I go to Costco. It's full. I'm like, nobody's working in this city. So it's like, so you have to think and so these are the people that are in trouble. It's the people that bought when rates were zero. So if you purchase a home between 2020 and and then rates started going up 2020, late 2022. So if you purchase it at the peak prices, lowest interest rate, and you maxed out your purchasing power like the Bank of Canada encouraged you to do,
Right.
those people are in big trouble.
Right.
They're already at 99 years amortization. There's no more AM. They're going to have to come up with money. How are they going to come up with money? The median household income is $78,000. They're not coming up with the money. So those people are in big trouble. So it's not everybody, but there's going to be people that are in trouble. And the people that have paid down their house for 10 years, they're going to be able to swallow the $400 or $500 to $1,000 more per month. But it's not going to be good for our economy because that money, so 60% of all mortgages in Canada are renewing by the end of next year, all at double or more interest rate.
That's terrifying for the country.
Yeah. So and is our economy booming to be able to handle that kind of increase? I read a report that 53% of Canadians are $200 away from insolvency right now. Half
Wow.
of Canadians. I'm sure those Canadians are probably renters, young Canadians, so there's people are in different places. There's one thing that is troublesome is as your property loses value, because let's say we get job losses, lots of job losses. We're already seeing job losses, but say it accelerates further. What happens is people, you're going to hear a lot of people from liberal voters, left leaning. They're going to say, why are you so upset about, why are you scared about 95% of the trade with the US is under our current trade negotiation that's exempt from tariffs. But what these people don't understand is the uncertainty is so catastrophic. The mental game is devastating because when you have uncertainty, people are no longer purchasing a home. People are not building homes. We're already seeing that. Nobody's buying, no one's building. People are building, they're like, our costs are up 20% from the retaliatory tariffs. Unreal. The costs are up for construction material because of retaliatory tariffs for the fridge, the stove, the windows. It's all coming from the US and
Right.
it's bringing the cost up. So people are unable to close on the property at a 20% increase in the thing, plus the uncertainty. So people
Right.
are not evaluating that when they say, oh, cost is going up, or the CUSMA is covered like 90. No, guys, the uncertainty causes it's like where the crack starts,
Right.
and it cracks open and then it starts spiraling down, where this area of the economy is starting to go. Now the people in the manufacturing that lost their jobs, do you think they're buying a house, a car, or something in the economy or going for services? They probably haven't cut their hair
Right.
this year. So
Yeah.
they're not spending into the economy. And then the barber loses his job. Then the guy that owns the barber shop, he can't pay his mortgage. He loses his business.
And that spending
then-
is really what greases the economy, isn't it, Mark? Not government, but it's that spending. It's that consumer spending that actually drives the economy, doesn't it?
That is the economy. I mean, obviously, there's the fake money that the government's going to print and then get
Right.
people to work. But there's the other side of the economy that once that goes, They're already looking to cut 15% of the workforce within our government to make the 2% NATO target of we have to come up with 9 billion.
Wow.
They're going to cut significant. That's the biggest cut in modern history with our government.
Well, they don't have a choice, though, do they? I mean, really, there's too much money going into. In fact, you could make a strong case for saying Canada is a socialist country. You have, I believe, 40% of our workforce is working for, for government, which is not a good thing. It doesn't grow the economy because, of course, the public service is a cost to the private sector.
Go ahead. The government doesn't create anything.
No, which is what they really need is to leave the economy alone and let people who know how to make things and build things and produce wealth and build businesses and incentivize them to do that. That seems to be what Donald Trump is trying to do, and he's doing it very well. He just signed this $1.2 trillion trade deal with the EU. But here's the other concern. You talk about the spiral, Mark. There's another one that people are not talking about enough, and that is people are leaving Canada in droves. Like you say, Canadians are losing hope. We're losing a lot of our best people, especially our entrepreneurs, the young people who are talented, who are creating things, trademarks, patents, intellectual property, biotech discoveries. They're not staying in Canada because they can see the writing on the wall. They see there's no opportunity here. And we start to lose those people. We lose maybe the most important sector of our economy, don't we?
Well, so you have to think the people that are leaving are the ones that can. And those are the best.
No.
Yeah.
Those are the best people. Because the people that, that don't have much, they can't go anywhere. So there's a flood. I saw a report 60,000 people are immigrating every month.
Wow.
Every month.
60,000 of our best is leaving. And, do you blame them?
Wow.
I don't blame them.
No.
I mean, the problem is that our taxes, for example, if you make 150,000 for your family and somebody makes 60,000, you're almost making the same after the benefits. After you pay your taxes, and then the people that only make 60,000 get free, a lot of freebies. Once you look at it, it's like, why am I working so hard? You work to make $1 more. After you pay the 12% GST, all of the taxes, you're making 33 cents. Why am I working so hard? Why don't I do like the guy next door that doesn't work at all, or he works twice a week and he makes the same amount? That's the problem with this country. There's no incentive to work hard at all. Why would I work hard? Because it's only going to go to naloxone kits downtown, or it's going to go to send off to wherever. It's this, or we're going to find out it's going to go to an app that should have cost $54,000 and it ended up costing us $65 million or something. Like, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Our trust and faith in them being able to handle things for a lot of us in Canada is like next to zero at this point. That's why there's so many people upset across the country.
Yeah.
We've lost faith.
Yeah. Well, and that might be a good thing. Michael, I'm curious to know if we've had anybody who's sent in questions or comments that maybe we can have Mark comment on.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, we did have David had some stuff, and then of course our friend Wes. And while I'm looking for that, I'll prime the pump with the cave allegory from everybody's friend Plato, and it sure feels like we're kind of in that environment of people who have escaped the cave, and they see how beautiful it is. Then they come back and they look like the lunatics. Yeah. To the people in the cave. But what a great allegory. I'm just looking. I know that Wes had something here. Hold on one second. I think Wes and David were having a bit of a conversation on Facebook.
So I have a question for you guys. Ahead. What are you guys hearing? Yeah, what are you guys hearing? I'd love to hear from you guys on your audience and what people are saying to you guys. What's the sentiment out there with our new prime minister and the trade war, and obviously with the new information about not being able to go in the forest. I mean, that's new, so you wouldn't know, but it's troublesome.
It is. Well, it's a great question, and on our show recently, we've been talking a lot about our values, right? Because, for example, taking the Alberta independence movement as an example, the Alberta Prosperity Project is kind of spearheading that, and they're trying to, convince people, look, the solution to the problem is to leave Canada, because that would make Alberta, the richest country per capita in the world. But one of the questions we were asking is, okay, if we were really rich, would that make us a better country? Or would we have more corruption, the kind of corruption that we have right now? Because actually, and I'm sure you understand this better than most people, Canada actually is a very rich country. You've been saying that. It's just we're so corrupt at the political level, and we're making very bad decisions that are not in the best interests of Canadians. And so, talking about that, for example, we're questioning whether, okay, well, if Alberta leaves Canada, becomes an independent country, is that going to solve the problems? Or are we just going to have more of the same problems in a smaller country? Or maybe the problems might be worse if we're richer. We might have a really rich government, and we might have citizens that aren't doing well at all. That happens a lot, as you know. And so what we've been talking about is, okay, what's really wrong with Canada? G.K. Chesterton famously answered a newspaper ad that said, what's wrong with the country? And he wrote in, "Dear Sir, I am," which is to say, we are. The problem, the real problem with Canada are Canadians. We need to care more about what's going on in our country. We need to demand more of our leaders. We need to do more in our everyday lives, like you say, building relationships. We've been talking a lot about this, and coming down to, I think, what we're experiencing in Canada is really a crisis of values. Like, what are our values? And maybe it's the same for you, Mark, but Michael and I were talking. We had a guest on named Grant Abraham, who's a really great guy who's running in the by-election here, and we were saying, when we were younger, we weren't confused about what it meant to be a Canadian. I don't recall growing up and feeling that I wasn't proud of my country. I had a pretty good idea what my country stood for. But, most Canadians don't know what their country stands for. And I think that explains, these propagandized polls about, how we want to join the EU, or people want to join the US, or people want to leave Canada. We don't have a clear idea of what it means to be a Canadian now, and we're not proud of it. And, it's easy to blame the Justin Trudeaus of the world for that. But I think at some point we've got to take responsibility for that ourselves, don't we? What do you think?
Yeah. No, you're bang on. You're bang on. The thing is if we had something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And guess
like a big project, like an Olympics or something, right?
But the thing is, well, you have to think. And whenever I see arguing between Canadians, I really scratch my head, because ultimately, we all want the same thing. Yes. All of us.
Yes.
We love each other. We love our families. We want safe streets. We want better opportunities. We want good health care. We want government that's accountable. We want the same thing. But the problem is that, like you said, we need a clear vision. Mm-hmm. And we're not getting that from Mark Carney. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling it. No. I don't know if you guys feel it.
No.
But we didn't. We got a little bit from Pierre. I felt a little bit. We didn't get the whole thing. That's why he didn't win. Yes. There's certain things that you need to do. You need to feel it in your core. Unfortunately, they just won with fear, not on a plan, and it's very discouraging. And that's we could see it now. There's no plan. They're scrambling. They're sending people to Mexico to go circumvent the United States, and they were sent packing. Like, are you nuts? Mm-hmm. It's not right what they're doing. But these liberals, they don't have common sense. It's just ridiculous. And then they always spin it.
Yep, this is very true. But Mark, a lot of people misunderstand what MAGA is, and this is why the left hates MAGA. MAGA is not a top-down movement. It didn't start at Donald Trump. It's a grassroots movement that worked its way up to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is he's the band leader twirling the baton at the front of the parade. He's not the parade. The MAGA movement is a grassroots movement of the American people who want a renaissance of their values. They want to restore a sense of a nationalism and American originalism there. That's why the left hates it. I think if Canada is going to reach its destiny, what it was intended to be, what I think God intended this country to be, the reason why God so blessed this country is he's challenging us as individuals to do something about it. What Canada needs is, yes, we need a leader, we need a charismatic leader, that's true, but we've got to start the parade that leader can get in front of, right? We don't need a Pied Piper. What we need is a grassroots movement that's going to find a leader with the right values. But the question is, how do we get there? Is it through influencers and podcasters like us, or how are we going to get there? And do you agree with me about this? That what we need in Canada is a grassroots movement that's going to resist the types of tyranny that you've been talking about here on the program. What do you think about that?
It's going to be challenging, even though that's probably, the idea of that is strong.
Yeah.
But the problem is we have gone so far into CBC gets 1.4 billion. We have just so much of, I don't know. It's almost an impossible task.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give up. Hey guys, I'm not giving up. And to be honest with you, the reason that I wake up every day and create my content and work hard, I have all sorts of other things I could do. Like, you know what
Obviously,
I mean? Like I have lots on my plate. I have young children, a family. I have all sorts of projects I'm working on, and I still deliver. And it's because I care for this country. And if I provide the information, I feel like it's making a difference. Yeah. If a few people, they share or they start talking, we're getting the conversation out and getting people talking, and then maybe we get that excitement back. Let's get excited again.
Yeah.
And guess what? Once we get excited and mobilize, they can't stop it. It's like it's started.
That's it.
How is it going to happen? Maybe what has to happen is Donald Trump rips up Kuzma. Oh. No more trade with the U.S. And we say, Mark Carney, you have done nothing for us. The deal is blown up. And even the elbows up say, we're done with you. We're going to try out the Conservatives now. We'll try anything right now. We'll just take whatever. So maybe that's what has to happen. There needs to be that moment where it's like, you know what?
Yep.
We just aha moment because I'll tell you right now, if there's no deal with the U.S., they're going to give up on Mark Carney because he was elected by these people as an economic genius. He's done Bank of Canada, Bank of England. He's our savior, man. If they see that he has pulled through with nothing, and I'm talking about within the next 6 months, 12 months tops, if there's nothing to show for him, there's going to be a massive shift, and it's going to be far exceed Justin Trudeau's decline. It's going to be like an aha moment, like, wow, we need to get out of this situation. And a divorce immediately.
I think we're already seeing that too, because there was a report today that the bulk of Carney's support is people above 65.
Yes.
And
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think it's happening already, but
I read those things. The reason people watch or follow me on my account is because I read a headline and then some people don't like it, but I usually create a piece of content that makes people think.
Right.
It might not be correct, but hey, what if, imagine this, you'll see in my content, it kind of strikes like, oh, I didn't think about that. Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, you've certainly made us think tonight, and it's obvious why you have such a strong following, Mark. It's been a real treat to have you on this live stream tonight.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking the time, spending time with us. We're going to provide the links to all of your various social media so people can connect with you. And folks, if you've been listening to this, you've been watching it, and you like what you saw, share it, because people can check this out, and then they can connect with Mark, learn more about what he's doing. He's got a lot of really great content. I was researching him today, and really unique stuff, as he says. He's a unique voice in Canada, and an important one, and it's been our pleasure to spend some time with him here tonight. So leave your comments, ask your questions, and who knows, he may respond. I know he actively engages with people on his platforms, as do we. So we want to thank all of you for being with us tonight. Thank Mark Nixon, our special guest. We hope to have him back again. It's been a real joy spending some time with him. And as we always do, Michael, I'm going to ask you just to lead us in a short prayer, if you would.
Well, thank you, gracious Lord, that we still have the freedom to have these conversations, and that we have life and liberty, and we can pursue happiness. And thank you for our families, and please guide us by your light of truth. And may we become more familiar with the ring of truth and the light of truth than that of deception. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Mark. Thanks for being with us. Folks, check out the 5 a.m. podcast with Michael Clausen, also Gray Matter, and our good friend, Mark Nixon, all of his incredible content at Mark Nixon Official. That's his Twitter handle. He's also on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere where you check out your social media. He's there. A lot of really great content, so check that out. Thanks all of you for being with us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed this, that you've learned something. We've shared something together that's useful and meaningful. And if you like what you heard, share it with your friends. Let's drive some conversations, as Mark says. And let's see if we can do something to improve this thing called Canada that we all love. He's right. We need to love each other. We also need to love our country, but that starts with us. That's our responsibility. So thank you, gentlemen, and good night to all from us at the Gray Matter podcast.
Oh, and one more. It'll be a shameless plug to send everyone over to Substack for Leighton. The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be bold and ask for your help, because we're like really close to getting Leighton monetized on the YouTubes. So we've reached it. I feel like all of a sudden we shifted to a fundraiser. I'm not asking for money, but if you could go over to Leighton's YouTube and watch a few of the videos, that would be great, because we're really close to hitting that 4,000 hour number. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks. I didn't mean to have the last word, but
no, that's okay, Michael. I appreciate it.
We're like there, ladies and gentlemen. So just binge it a couple times. There's a weekend coming up and all that good stuff.
This video is going on there, is it not?
It's on there right now. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll send some people to watch it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thanks very much,
guys.
Mark. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and we hope to have you back on the live stream.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You bet.